What's going on, guys? It's Tetrosphere, and I do have another feature match from the case tournament held at GalaxyBusterTCG in celebration of the Duelist Advance set release. If you hear any extra noise in the background, little bonus content. I do have some good boys with me. They're making some noise. They're playing with some cards, apparently, and they're playing. So yeah, that might be going on, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the question of the day. The question of the day today is, what set, relative to the power level of the game before its release, was the most impactful in the entire history of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? My answer, Invasion of Chaos. Let me know down below what you guys think. With that said, let's jump into the match. Looks like we have the dice roll. I did miss what the first roll was, but it looks like on the left we have Lunalight. I'm not sure why the camera is so zoomed in. Must have gotten nudged or something before the match, but looks like we're still able to pretty much see everything, so shouldn't be a big deal. Just shuffling up real quick. Man's really going to town back there. All right. Offering cuts. Let's find out who will be playing the game to get us started. Okay, so in the draw phase, we assume we have Perulia, and it looks like we have Foolish Burial Goods from the left here. So it is Lunalight to kick us off. And we are sending a trap that I don't quite recognize. It obviously is a Lunalight starter. Serenity Dance or Serenade Dance, something of that nature. And we have Ash in response to that, but we do have Called By for the Ash, so the Serenade Dance is going to resolve, and that is going to summon Gold Leo, who is going to target engrave the Lunalight that we discarded for Serenade. Missed exactly what that was, but the Imperm is going to go down for that. Looks like we activated Masquerade from deck. That must have been the graveyard effect of whatever Lunalight was pitched. Not terribly familiar with these cards, so hopefully you guys down below can fill in the blanks. But it looks like that is going to summon... Oh, geez, what is her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. I can just barely make it out. Is it Kaleido Chick? Yeah, that's Kaleido Chick. That's right. Alright, so we've got a negated Gold Leo. We've got a Kaleido Chick. And we sent one of the fusions from the extra deck to grave. I believe this is... That's Yellow Martin coming out of the grave, if I'm not mistaken, going to allow us to overlay. And it looks like we're going into Fire Fist Tiger King. Grabbing out Tenki, which is then going to grab... There's a whole host of options. Looks like we are going for Black Sheep. Now keep in mind, we do have Perulia online. So any of that's extension from hand will result in a draw on the side of our opponent. And it looks like we are going to go for that Yellow Martin, which gives our opponent a draw, and then its effect on summon. I believe this... Is this the one that Foolish is for cost? Let's find out. Lunalight Yellow Martin says, if this card is in your grave, etc., special summon this card in defense, banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Lunalight spell check from deck to your hand. Oh, that doesn't send. Or wait, that's not Yellow Martin. That's the Kaleido Chick, isn't it? Yeah, my bad. My bad. Which Kaleido Chick is the one that sends for cost to change its name if used as fusion material. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and go for a Link Summon into Cross Sheep. And now we're going to go with the Black Sheep from hand. Let's see here. What does that do again? Lunalight Black Sheep, discard a card. You can either add a Lunalight monster from hand to grave, or I'm sorry, from grave to hand, or add Poly from deck to hand. And it looks like we are attempting to add Lunalight Tiger. That seems to be successful. We're going to go ahead and scale the Tiger, which I believe special summons from grave, negating its effects. And it looks like we're targeting Kaleido Chick. Alright, so there's Kaleido Chick. Now, it's worth pointing out that the effect is negated. It doesn't mean you can't activate it. So Kaleido Chick can still send for cost. And it looks like something is being read, perhaps on Black Sheep. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and continue play and overlay into a Dugaris. Dugaris is going to detach to draw 2 and discard 1 and skip the next draw phase, it seems. We just carded some spell, didn't quite make... What is that? This is another 10 key, it looks like. And we're going to go ahead and scale Lunalight Wolf. Finding out what that does right quick. Lunalight Wolf in scale. Special summon a Lunalight Fusion from extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from field or grave. So out comes one of the dancers. Not quite sure exactly which one that is. Let's see, is that... Looks like that's Perfume Dancer, which adds Lunalight Perfume from deck to hand on Fusion Summon. And it can also target another Lunalight card you control, return it to the extra deck or deck, hand or extra deck, special summon a Lunalight monster from hand. And we're going to go ahead and go with Perfume, which I do believe special summons from grave. And we are going with that Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick can then Foolish from deck or extra deck to copy the name. So it looks like we're going to go into SP. It points at a fusion monster, so it is able to revive a monster from grave. This is a common misconception about Cross Sheep. It looks like our opponent is reading it to verify. It does not have to be that a fusion monster is summoned to the zone it points to. It's just that a monster has to be summoned to a zone it points to while it points to a fusion, which it does have 2 arrows. So SP being summoned to its zone while it points at Perfume Dancer does work. And this, once again, is going to bring Kaleido Chick onto the field, allowing it to Foolish another Lunalight monster. Not quite making out exactly which one that was. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add Wolf to hand. Scale it again. Wolf was added by the effect of Perfume Dancer. And now Wolf is going to attempt a fusion summon by banishing those materials. And I believe this is now the big boy, the Liger Dancer. Alright, going through our grave once again. I guess the opponent was just trying to verify something, perhaps about the materials. I do see 4 monsters banished, and to my knowledge, she takes 4 monsters to be summoned, so I do believe this is legit. At least from my perspective. I see 3 engine cards, being Mitsurugi and Ryzeal cards on the side of our opponent. I'm not sure what effect we activated that allowed us to discard, but we were able to discard Black Goat Laughs to add Gold Leo. So now we have Black Goat in the graveyard. We have Impulse sets. And we pass it on over to our friend on the right who draws an Ash Blossom for turn. So we've got Habakiri, Mirakumo, Sword, Ryzeal. We're going to go ahead and reveal Habakiri. We're going to go Black Goat Laughs here, which I'm not 100% sure what was called. I would think the correct call here is Saji, but you might also just call Mirakumo. I think if you call Saji, though, I believe the graveyard effect is the one that says you can't special summon it. But that might be the one that says you just can't activate its effect. But regardless, Saji doesn't seem to have been part of the equation. We are able to summon Saji, tribute it, and activate Ritual. Or rather, add Ritual. Looks like we banished Serenade Dance, so this must have some kind of graveyard effect. Let me see if I can figure that out for us. You can match a card from your grave, add a card from hand, send a card from hand to grave, and if you do, special summon a Lunalight monster from deck. Okay, so we special summoned a Kaleido Chick. Looks like I missed a Sword Ryzeal coming down, searching an Ext, and then that sword was banished probably by SP. Ext sent Aggregator. Not sure what it attempted to negate, but obviously attempted to negate something. And Ext is now going to search some extra push here. Considering what to add. Looks like we're just going to add another sword. Sword is going to special summon itself, and it looks like here we're going to attempt Liger Dancer to Raigeki the board. And I guess we're just going to scoop. It must have been Murakumo that was called with the Black Goat. But I'm trying to think, did you have a way to maybe summon a Habakiri and get out Dugaris? Considering you already normaled, probably not. I think that was probably the time to scoop there. Alright, so now we will get to see how Lunalight fares playing into a board, especially a board formidable as what Mitsurugi Ryzeal is able to create. We know that Lunalight was one of the more anticipated decks coming into the format. Liger Dancer is a very serious win condition. It does seem, however, that the deck is able to build around the Liger Dancer. It's not a simple matter of sitting on the tower. Let's see what it's able to do in terms of pushing and how a deck is able to prevent it from getting to that point. Hey, come here, Brisket. Come here. Come on. Oh. Brisket's getting into stuff, so I'm going to have him chill with me while I'm doing this commentary. He's Isn't that right, Biscuit? Mm. He's the best doggy, other than also Gravy, who is also the best doggy. You a little jealous, Gravy? You want up too? You want uppies? Alright, so I've just got 2 dogs on my chair with me now. I feel like a king. Alright, so we're shuffling up. We're offering cuts. Any moment now, game 2 should be underway. Presumably, Mitsurugi Ryzeal going first against Lunalight. That was some serious shuffling. Alright, we do have Lancia, it looks like. Droll, Impulse, and a couple of engine cards on the side of Lunalight. On the side of Ryzeal Mitsurugi, I do see us starting off with X. I think I saw an Imperm, perhaps, in a Mitsurugi ritual. Couldn't quite make out the rest in the time I was glancing over. And we are adding Sword on Resolution. We do have Droll and Lockbird. Oh. Gravy just pressed the pause button. Apparently he's done watching this, but we still have plenty of games to go, or gaming to go. So, Sword comes down, obviously no search. We're going to go ahead and overlay right into a rank 4. And we're just going to go for a detonator, attach the duo drive from Grave. We do have the Imperm to set to back our push up, or our plays up. I do think I saw an Ash Blossom in hand, so definitely not anything to scoff at. Let's see what Lunalight does here. Looks like we're going to go with the normal summon of Gold Leo. And it must have a summon trigger because we're going to go ahead and Imperm it and then pop it with the detonator. So not only do we lose the board presence, we also lose the effect. We do have Tiger to scale, it seems. Considering if that's going to be the play, we are going to go ahead and scale that Tiger. Now this is just going to get popped by the detonator, though, for sure. This does not survive detonator, right? There's no way. What? Alright, so Gold Leo comes out in defense position and Dominus Impulse is set. So now we'll have a turn without Droll. With nothing but a Dominus Impulse to play through. Let's see what we're able to do here, if we can go ahead and clean this up. We do have Saji and Ritual in hand, it looks like, plus an Ash. And it seems like that was maybe Aramasa top decked for turn. That Impulse is threatening for sure. For sure. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and normal summon Aramasa. This seems to resolve, so now we're going to go ahead and add the Habakiri. We can either go Ritual first or Habakiri first. We are going to go ahead and go Ritual first, which does get met with the Impulse. How do we follow this up? Habakiri is online. Unless we don't play any more targets. But we got to play at least a Kusanagi, right? It seems not. We're just going to go ahead and punch over. And pass it back. Okay. Interesting. So maybe we don't play Kusanagi. Looks like we're going to go ahead and go with the Gold Leo. Once again. This time there is no Imperm set, but it will instead be met with an Ash Blossom. Okay. So it looks like Tiger attempted to summon from grave. We chained Detonator to pop the other gold Leo. I'm not sure why we didn't chain Tiger. Does it have a grave effect or something I'm not aware of? I wonder if we're playing around something that I'm just not thinking about. Very aggressively cutting the opponent's deck. Holy crap. Alright, let's draw for turn. Looks like it was a trap card, whatever it was. Possibly a D-barrier or something. Definitely the kind of thing that would come in post side. Now we're going to attempt Habakiri, which this will not be chained to. I'm not sure why we didn't do this last turn. We're going to go ahead and go Kusanagi. Kusanagi will add. And that's all our boy needed to see. We are going to go ahead and scoop right there. Looks like it was Solemn Strike that was drawn for turn. Yeah, so that's... Being a Pendulum deck, Detonator is definitely an issue for the Lunalight deck going second. Definitely. I'm not sure why we kept the Tiger out of grave and let that stay on field, just popping the monsters instead. If that was to play around something that I'm not thinking about, let me know down below, because I'm definitely curious why that was the move. But it worked out in this case. Game 2 does, in fact, go to our player on the right. Taking out all our good going second cards, our Gamma Seals, our Lava Golems. On the side of Lunalight there, the Chummies coming out. Not quite seeing what's coming out on the side of Mitsurugi Ryzeal, but you can assume it's anything like the Solemn Strikes or any of those other traps. Like if D-Barrier came in, that's coming out, and things like the Chummies are coming in. Ash Blossom is definitely staying in. That proved to be quite effective. So what I'm hearing everyone say is that Lunalight can do decently into the lingering hand traps like the Drolls and the Chummies, but much like Snake Eye of last year, if you have 2 or 3 of the 1-for-1 hand traps, that can really be difficult for Lunalight to push through. So if you are siding anything like that, then that is definitely something that come in. You might also be siding like Kaijus or something for the towers, or maybe even Lava Golem, since this is a deck that does not need its normal summon. Of course, being a Mitsurugi variant, you likely play Wosu in that regard, so that would also be something that we could see as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like our players have finished siding. They're shuffling up. We are going into Game 3 of our next feature match. This will be the one that decides who takes home the victory in round 2 of Swiss. Will it be Lunalight, once again having an opportunity to go first, establish the towers and defend the castle, or this time will Mitsurugi Ryzeal be able to push through, out the Liger Dancer, and take care of business? Both players very thoroughly randomizing their decks. Very thorough. No clumping here whatsoever. It's a glorious thing. All right, decks have been handed over. Decks have been cut. A couple pieces of private information were accidentally revealed, which is pretty bad considering that was your opponent's deck. That's, yikes. Alrighty, let's go ahead and draw our starting 5s. Looks like we have Foolish Burial Goods, and I believe, is that Masquerade, the other starter there? Or the other engine piece, rather? We are going to start out with Artifact Lancia. So this will prevent the fusion summoning gimmick. But we do have Masquerade to get things started. This will not be met with interaction. So we're going to go ahead and dig into our deck and send, I believe that is Black Sheep, if I'm not mistaken. And then, because it was sent by card effect, it is able to summon. Looks like we're going with Gold Leo. Gold Leo is then going to once again search the deck on summon. What are we thinking about here? Checking our hand. Our only other engine piece is the burial goods. So it looks like we're going to go ahead and send... is that Kaleido Chick? Really sorry I'm not good with these names, guys. But we're going to go ahead and attempt Jolan Lockbird here. And oh, okay, so Kaleido Chick must have been added to hand and then discarded. That's right. That's what GoldEO does, isn't it? That's right. We attempted to cross out the Droll, but there was no legal target, so that will not actually go through. Apparently we're reading Jolan Lockbird. What's going on here? What do we not understand about Jolan Lockbird? No shot this is actually like a point of confusion in the game, right? Like... Okay, looks like we're moving on. I'm not 100% sure what that interaction was. I'm guessing one of them has an effect to bounce itself to summon from grave or something. What the fuck was that? I don't know what just happened, but we're going Foolish Burial Goods to send the Black Goat Laughs. I would be very surprised if we did not Talent to Look. That is absolutely happening. So we've got... Draw Phase Prayers is still pretty good, but I think Aramasa was definitely the correct call there regardless. Looks like that might have been a Dominus Impulse and a Crossout Designator to set. Maybe just setting the Crossout Designator. Okay. Choosing to keep the Impulse in hand. Alright, top deck. Let's see what we got. It was definitely a monster of some kind. Couldn't quite make out exact. Looks like it's another Lancia. So we're going to attempt Prayers here. Prayers add Habakiri. We're going to go ahead and chain Black Goat. And might be calling Saji this time. But the call of Murakumo worked out just fine last time. Or no, actually, we're not even going to do that. We're going to go Dominus Impulse, which because we have a trap engraved, because we took back the Black Goat Laughs, will actually destroy the Habakiri. And we're going to go ahead and pass it back. Baguska detaches for maintenance. Common question about Baguska and Impulse, even though it's an Earth, maintenance cost does not activate. So you do still have to detach in standby phase. But we're going to go ahead and drop the other Lancia to at least hopefully prevent that towers from coming out. And we're going to go ahead and go with Masquerade to Foolish Lunalight. And then Yellow Martin is going to come out from Grave. What do we got here? We could normal... Looks like we're going to put that Baguska in attack. But we're just going to link them off. We are going to go ahead and go for Cross Sheep. And then Yellow Marten is going to trigger Engrave. Oop. Let me see what's going on with that. What's its grave trigger again? I know we read this earlier. That's if it's sent... Okay, so it looks like they're attempting to add with Yellow Marten, but that says if it's sent to grave by a card effect, which... It definitely wasn't, right? It was sent to grave to make Cross Sheep. Hang on, I'm gonna rewind this a sec. I normally don't do this on these live commentaries, but I want to see what just happened again. So there's Yellow Marten and Baguska. We're looking at her grave here. So we're going to go ahead and link off the Yellow Marten and the Baguska into Cross Sheep. And, okay, so he points at the Yellow Marten like he's attempting its effect. This is what Yellow Marten says. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Lunalight card you control, except Lunalight Yellow Marten, return it to your hand, and if you do, special summon this card in defense position, but banish this card when it leaves the field. Which, how did Yellow Marten come out in the first place? Right, so that's met with Impulse. Lancia comes down. We go Meta Noise. Or not Meta Noise, I'm insane. Masquerade. That's going to send. And it sends... I think that's Kaleido Chick. Alright, so how did Yellow Marten just get summoned? Is that the other one? When it was Foolished? That's not Kaleido Chick. What was that other one that was just Foolished? Hang on, I know I normally don't do it like this, but I really want to figure this out. Because I'm really... was that Silver Hound? Was that Silver Hound that was Foolished? By Masquerade. Looks like it has like green wings. No, that's not Silver Hound. Hold up. What are you? What are you? I'm not seeing that. Here, is it Emerald Bird? If this card is normal or specialed, if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. Emerald Bird was Foolished, summoning Yellow Marten. And then they are linked off for Cross Sheep. And now he goes Yellow Marten. And adds the Lunalight fusion. Okay, so yeah, that's not legal there. It says if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Lunalight spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can't just do it anytime it's sent to grave. It does have a ignition grave effect to bounce a Lunalight card you control and then summon it. But yeah, you definitely cannot legally add Lunalight fusion there. Alright, so it looks like we're going to go ahead and go for the Perfume Dancer illegally, and then summon that, I think that's Silver Hound off of Cross Sheep. And then Perfume Dancer is going to go ahead and add the Lunalight Perfume. And it looks like Kaleido Chick is foolishing to copy the name. I'm going to go ahead and attempt Perfume. Summon the Gold Leo out of Grave. And we are tutoring Black Sheep, yada yada yada. Lunalight, things, discarding it to add polymerization. Looks like we're going into Dagaris. And we're going to use its effect to summon from Grave. Our opponent is reading the Dagaris. They probably should have read the Yellow Marten. And Kaleido Chick is going to send from extra deck to copy a name. What are we considering here? Alright, we're going to go polymerization to make a... I think that's another Perfume Dancer. And it looks like we have some Grave triggers there. Looks like it's going to add Tiger and Poly back to hand. Or was that Masquerade? Oh, yeah, you bounce Masquerade to summon itself back. That's right. Or something of that nature. We Foolish once again. Perfume Dancer can bounce the Tiger, that's right, and then Tiger can reactivate. Which will then allow it to summon from Grave once again. We're going to go ahead and go for polymerization. And this should be Liger Dancer. Well, I use should very loosely. Really, none of this should have happened, but here we are. Looks like we're double checking the materials. It can get a little bit confusing because, like I said, that, you know, there's like the name copying when used as fusion material effect going on. So definitely wise to double check all of this. Alright, it looks like we're going to go for some damage, and that, unfortunately, is going to be going the way of Lunalight. At that point, It's an accepted game state, part of the game, things happen, but this is just a point to all of y'all. Be very sure to read your opponent's cards, especially when it's a new deck that you're not familiar with, because that interaction being that illegal search of Lunalight Fusion was massive, absolutely massive. Regardless, I really appreciate you guys checking the video out. I will see you on the next one. We have 2 more rounds of Swiss to commentate. Peace.